Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. A local company is hoping the city of Prince Albert will remove the 3-store cap for cannabis retailers. At Monday's executive committee meeting, Into the Weeds Cannabis presented a request for the city to re-examine a bylaw preventing the company from opening a new store. Prince Albert already has a 4th store on 10th Street East. However, it's located on Sturgeon Lake First Nation land. Into the Weeds co-owner Megan Paladoir-Volaris says Prince Albert is the only large Saskatchewan city still operating under a hard cap.
We completely understand and respect community concerns around substance use, homelessness, and downtown safety. But those challenges are not driven by retail cannabis. And responsible operators can be part of the revitalization solution and not the problem.
The executive committee voted to forward the request to administration for analysis and report. 3 people were arrested in relation to a drug trafficking investigation that dates back to summer. Earlier this summer, Prince Albert police were notified about someone trafficking cocaine in Prince Albert. Search warrants were executed at multiple properties in the city on Thursday. Officers seized 2 vehicles, $70,000, nearly 3.5 kilograms of cocaine, a rifle, and other trafficking items. 32-year-old Montana Primo, 37-year-old Jordan McDonald, and 31-year-old Janie Farrow were arrested. 34-year-old Evan Halkett has a warrant out for his arrest related to the investigation. All 4 have been charged with possession of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking. The investigation continues. The Saskatchewan government's deficit for the year continues to grow. It has now reached $427 million according to a mid-year financial update. Initially, the province had forecast a $12 million surplus for the year. The cost of fighting northern forest fires over the summer was a major contributing factor, costing $295 million more than expected. The government also blames several unforeseen circumstances, although tariffs is not one of them.
We've been fortunate so far that the vast majority of our products that are shipped from here are CUSMA compliant, and so we haven't had a huge impact. But having said that, we've got to get this trade issue settled with both the U.S. and China and now India, our major trading partners.
The NDP say the government's budget was unrealistic and now the numbers have come home to roost. Saskatchewan small businesses are hoping for a boost after months of sluggish consumer spending, and this weekend marks Small Business Saturday. The November 29th Small Business Saturday designation is placed between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says low consumer demand is partly the result of families experiencing tighter budgets. The manager at Sask Made Market is seeing tariffs also negatively impacting their business, with some customers canceling orders when they find out a $20 item is costing them over $100 to get it. In the U.S., businesses are being challenged like never before. According to the CFIB, 20% are expecting lower sales this season.
We're seeing confidence levels that are below historic levels. In Saskatchewan in particular, we have around half of our members saying that they're facing low demand, so a lack of consumer spending, and another half saying that they are dealing with skilled labor shortages.
The CFIB says for each dollar spent, many small businesses put more money back into the community than some big box retailers, in addition to contributing to local sports teams and community organizations. Well, relatively clear skies and not what I was expecting over to the province to the west of us, but not too bad. We kind of skipped all that winter weather.
We did. They had a fair amount of snow in the Calgary area, I believe around 13 centimeters. It certainly was true of areas closer to the Saskatchewan and Alberta border, in and around Medicine Hat and sort of towards that area. Across the border, yes, around 13 centimeters, but other places. But the bottom line is, it looks like Alberta got most of that along with southwestern Saskatchewan, and then its system moved off into Manitoba, and it continues to create some issues for other parts of the American Midwest and the Great Lakes region. But what is coming our way? Not much, at least for a day or so, because fairly quiet conditions across the prairies, and we'll talk about that later on.
Saskatoon City Council has begun what's expected to be its most challenging job of the year, finalizing the next 2 budgets. The mayor and councillors will spend the next 3 days deciding how much money each civic service should receive. Property taxes are currently projected to jump 7.43% in 2026 and 5.92% in 2027, and councillors will comb through 108 cost-cutting options to try to bring those numbers down. To start the day, Councillor Randy Donauer questioned whether the city really needs to hire more staff. The city is proposing 193 new full-time equivalent positions over the next 2 years. Administration says there's a process to make sure more workers are actually necessary.
We have an expectation across the organization that every individual receives a performance review and performance plan for the year. And we measure that. It's a heavily scrutinized process. Okay. And I think that there are many factors to that. There's no automatic FTEs.
In his remarks, the city manager outlined ways to improve city operations, calling audits absolutely essential to our future. He also pointed to artificial intelligence as a way to boost productivity, saying the city is taking a bullish approach to incorporating AI. The city of Saskatoon has released numbers from the most recent point-in-time count. It shows 1,931 people were experiencing some type of homelessness in 2024. That's an increase of 432 people from the previous count. The pit count breaks the total number down into 6 different categories. Those who are unsheltered represent the largest category, with 725 people.
And we know that we do not have the facilities in Saskatoon to be able to fill what's happening. And it's scary. Our city's in a crisis when it comes to homelessness.
The Saskatoon Tribal Council's Wellness Centre is expected to expand its hours within the week. The facility had recently hired 121 peacekeepers to ensure that it will be able to operate 24/7 throughout the winter. Day 2 of the Canadian Western Agribition, in Regina, featured 2 major partnership announcements. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe announced a new 5-year partnership renewal between the Canadian Western Agribition and Canadian National Railway. That announcement was followed by a partnership between the Global Institute for Food Security at the University of Saskatchewan and the Canadian Beef Improvement Network.
This offers high-throughput genotyping to Canadian beef producers here in Canada, and that's an important resource to have within our borders and be able to keep us at this world-class level that we're at. The genetics we see in the barns here is only because of the work of the breeders, and this provides tools for them to keep doing the great work they're doing.
She says the partnership is intended to provide the beef industry with a faster, secure, and more reliable pathway to gaining genetic insights and certifying pedigree. When we come back, a meet and greet with potential employers. Jasmine Pelche catches up with the Prince Albert Ground Council Urban Services Job Fair.
We're with Kevin Friesen from PAGC Urban Services to talk about the upcoming job fair. I heard you have almost doubled the amount of businesses that are going to be participating in the fair this year. Would you be able to talk about how that ended up happening?
Well, it's communicating with everybody, sending out emails, phone calls. It's just reaching out to them. The bonus for the companies is this is a zero cost for the companies to join us that day. We have hot lunches for the employers, organizations. We've got a guest speaker coming in for this one. We've got youth and job seekers coming from across northern Saskatchewan to this event.
And will it be held at the Urban Services building? And is there any difficulty coordinating where to put all of these different employers now that it's grown so much?
It is. It's going to be a packed house. It's going to be, the gym is full with probably 40 different booths set up. We're going to have the basement set up with the other 20. The boardroom's going to be set up for the guest speaker. It's going to be a busy day. Plus, we're adding the live stream for the Athabasca region, which is going to be great for them because nobody's done this before with them. We need to be able to include Black Lake, Wollaston, Fond du Lac in all of the job opportunities that are out there.
Could you talk more about how the live stream works and who's on each end?
On each end. So we do have a staff member going up to Fond du Lac and Hatchet Lake. Black Lake will have their they're set up. So it's going to be a live stream set up on Teams. So the companies can come in, do their interview, present their company options and procedures and hiring opportunities and training opportunities. And if anybody has questions in those communities, the staff can really type the questions back to us and relay them, and hopefully there can be some dialogue there.
Who is your guest speaker this year, and how did you end up getting them on board?
So we partnered with Pelican Lake First Nation. They're bringing in Cannabis Delorme, so newly appointed Chancellor of U of R, former Chief of Cowicess, my home nation. And we're going to have him set up in the boardroom. I'm not sure if he's doing 1 or 2 presentations, but as far as I know, he's going to be there all day long.
How many people do you usually have turn out to the job fair, like seeking employment or just trying to make connections?
This one, my goal is hopefully minimum, I want to see 300 job seekers and youth. I know the last ones, due to weather, due to temperature, it's been down a little bit, but it's always been growing. The last one, we had 38 organizations and we had 180 job seekers. So with 20 more companies coming in, hopefully we can grow it to 300.
And how are you engaging with people in the community to try and up attendance this year?
A lot of it's conversation, some of it's trips, some of it's just phone calls to the leadership, trying to connect with the right person.
Could you go into some detail about how it might be beneficial for youth or someone seeking employment to go visit and network at this job fair?
So what this is going to do is this is going to allow a no-pressure environment. You can come in, you can network with leaders of the companies, employees of the companies. It's just a no-pressure environment. You can come in, converse with the people. You can ask them questions. Maybe a company's going to find that one certain employee they love. And other companies have talked to me and said, yes, we found employees. Yes, they've worked out. So it's lots of different opportunities here.
Is this career fair just for job seekers, or specifically targeted at job seekers who are from nations that are members of the Grand Council?
This job fair is open to everybody. We're not saying it's just open to First Nations. It's open to anyone actually looking for work. There's so many employers out there looking for employees.
When is the job fair, and how can people find out more information?
So the job fair is November 27th, this Thursday, 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. at PAGC Urban Services, 1211 First Avenue West.
Thank you so much for coming out, Kevin, and I hope you get your 300 people.
Perfect. Thank you.
Jeff has the weather coming up next. After that, new hope to slow the spread of one of the most aggressive cancers. So, Jeff, in the old days, they used to fill thermometers with mercury, but whatever they've got in there now is probably going to be dropping in the next few days.
It is. It's that red stuff. But you're right about the mercury. And yes, the temperatures are going to continue to sort of slowly make their way down. It's not going to be a big drop-off on one day, but it is a bit of a slow trend there. We can tell you that in terms of active weather, pretty quiet across the prairies. A little bit of shower activity in BC today, and then eventually they get a bit of a break tomorrow, but more showers making their way into particularly Vancouver Island, the lower mainland. Not so much a central and northern situation for BC, but across the prairies, as I mentioned, not a lot of active weather, and that's good news for a lot of people. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on with our future cast. So as you can see, that, as I mentioned, the system moving in off the Pacific coast there, slashing across mostly into Washington State and Oregon, but clipping parts of British Columbia, maybe a little bit of snow in northern areas. I've been getting reports, boy, they've been getting a lot of snow in Banff, Sunshine and places like that. They've got a lot of snow has been falling there, so I'm not sure. I'll double check on when the ski resorts are opening up in Alberta. It might be this weekend, I'm not sure. Minus 13 degrees overnight in Spiritwood, minus 15 for the Battlefords, minus 12 in Candle Lake and Birch Hills and Rostern. Minus 8 is the expected overnight temperature in Nipawin and Melfort, partly cloudy skies, and minus 9. On to tomorrow, well, minus 8 -8 for a daytime high in Spiritwood, -9 in the Battlefords, -8 in Candle Lake, Birch Hills, and Rostern, -6 in Nipawin, and -7 in Melfort. So not a big difference between the overnight temperatures and the daytime temperatures. And these temperatures are below seasonal, not by a lot, but they are still below seasonal by about 4 degrees or 5 degrees. Now, for Prince Albert area, -12 degrees, partly cloudy skies. The winds shift around a little bit in terms of the direction, but the wind is not going to be a strong wind, a fairly light wind. So just keep that in mind. And tomorrow, again, a northwesterly wind, but just at 10 kilometers an hour. So even though that -8 will feel a little cooler, it won't feel a lot colder. So mainly cloudy conditions tomorrow in Prince Albert. And then -8 again on Thursday with a bit more cloud cover. Then mainly cloudy skies Friday through Tuesday. And as you can see, there's that slow march downward in terms of our temperatures. -16 on Sunday for a high, so way below seasonal. -13 on Monday. And 1 week from today, we've got ourselves a temperature of -14 degrees. So yes, it's as predicted, as we've been talking about. We were anticipating these cold temperatures, and it looked like they're certainly showing up. And how long they will stick around, well, might be a while.
Time will tell, eh? Well, your broadcasting weather prognostication duties are over, so you're going to be focused on tomorrow's, and that's kind of the same thing as the Rough Riders. Now that the Grey Cup celebrations have settled down, Riders GM Jeremy O'Day is already looking to next football season.
You kind of pass the Grey Cup around, and you go back into the coach's office, and then I think you have the parade, and then the next day you kind of hit you with, all right, you're having exit meetings with the players, and their contracts are up, and so you're trying to give them, the information that you can, and let them know that, make sure they understand that you want them to be back.
Last week, Trevor Harris said he hasn't made a decision yet on his future. O'Day says those conversations have yet to happen, but the Riders would love to have the 39-year-old quarterback return next spring if he wants to continue playing football. Some sad news in the curling world today. Hall of Fame curler and longtime broadcaster Colleen Jones has passed away. Colleen Jones skipped her teams to the World Women's Championships in 2001 and 3 years later in 2004. The Nova Scotian competed in more Scotties Tournament of Hearts than any other curler in history. Jones set a record as the youngest skip to win the Canadian title in 1982. She was a fixture in the provincial curling scene when she began what would become a decades-long career in broadcasting, working for CBC as a reporter and sports host. Jones was 65.
Do you have a community event you would like to promote? Or maybe you'd like to draw attention to your organization. Let your local CTV station help you spread the word. Contact us at 306-922-6020 or email panews@ctv.ca. You can appear on CTV Prince Albert's News at 5 and get your message to our viewers.
There's new hope for Canadians suffering from one of the most aggressive cancers, glioblastoma. And while patients still don't have a cure, they may potentially have something they rarely get, more time. Avis Favreau on the breakthrough and the barriers in this exclusive report.
On the stretcher is 67-year-old Elena Marcoux, about to be treated for an aggressive brain tumor in a very new way.
We confirmed that this is a glioblastoma.
She's one of about 1,000 Canadians diagnosed each year with glioblastoma, a cancer with a very high death rate. It ended the life of musician Gord Downey. The key problem, chemotherapy can't get past the blood-brain barrier to stop the tumor cells. So as part of her treatment, doctors give Elena an infusion of tiny microbubbles. And as she lays in an MRI, they send ultrasound waves into her brain to cause those bubbles to vibrate. The result, the bubbles are able to briefly pry open the brain's protective barrier, allowing the anti-cancer drug to reach the tumor.
As I went through, it got easier.
A new study of 34 patients, almost half of them in Canada, found this treatment given once a month for just 6 months extended overall survival from 19 to 30 months, a 40% increase. All the more intriguing because a few patients have survived longer.
There are still patients who were on this trial that are still alive right now, and that's 4 to 5 years in.
While not a cure, Dr. Lipsman is hopeful.
This is a disease that is in urgent need of treatment. I think the safety data was pretty compelling. I think the efficacy data was pretty compelling. And I'd love to see this as quickly as possible move through the regulatory process.
The treatment is clearly promising, but it needs big hospital-based equipment like this MRI, meaning it will be hard to get out to patients across the country. And that's why Canadian scientists here are developing the next generation of portable focused ultrasound.
And this is what the next Canadian-designed prototype looks like, wires that deliver the ultrasound outside of an MRI, with patient studies to begin next year.
We can do it faster, we can do it more streamlined, doesn't require an overnight stay, but all of those steps will mean a much reduced cost footprint.
Elena, meanwhile, has one more treatment to go.
I have 2 grandkids. One is 10 months old, and I can be around them. So.
After which she hopes her brain tumor remains stable as she helps science with the next stage of this research. Avis Favreau, CTV News, Toronto.
Brought to you by Saskatchewan Union of Nurses. Thank you to Saskatchewan's 11,000 registered nurses.
All right, Jeff, I know you're a big boy now, but at one point in time, were you a stuffed animal haver or possessor?
Weren't all kids, but I don't recall anything in particular. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Well, there's a very good news story today because a stuffed bunny has been reunited with its original owner after being found at Vancouver's airport last month. The stuffed animal has been on a month-long adventure. Joey Gibbs found the rabbit waiting for a flight to Seoul. He took the rabbit traveling until he could return it to the owner, documenting the trip in a travel blog on social media, and that earned thousands of likes and comments. After some back and forth with the airline, Gibbs was able to get the rabbit back to the owner, a mother and daughter who had lost the bunny during a trip to China. And that's got to be a pretty awesome reunion there for the kid. And as someone who had, I had a stuffed clown and I called him Krusty the Clown, but I missed that little one. All right, CTV National News is next.